Hello and welcome to Shopping for the Real You. I'm Andrea, the author of the Amazon bestseller, Shopping for the Real You. And my guest today is Agneta Sundberg. I met Agneta through a local business organization, and we found out that we have a great deal in common. We see the world in a very similar way, and we have very similar interests. And I know you are going to find her very interesting because she has quite a varied background in the field of health and wellness, and she's taking it in a very interesting direction. So first of all, I want to welcome you, Agneta.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here.
Great. Now, I know that you were and still are, a health coach and a nutritional coach, and that you taught yoga. And since so many people are into yoga these days, I want you to very briefly share with my viewers what you told me, which was why you changed from the way you used to teach yoga to the way you do it now. So give us a little bit of that background information.
I'm happy to do that. One of the key factors that I think is part of my passion that is burning and feeding me in the background is the fact that I grew up with my grandmother back in Sweden, and she would say, our first wealth is health, with that kind of seriousness of a Swedish grandma. That cemented certainly in my core, and that has been and still is feeding me. And when I started practicing yoga, it was more of a practice of how we think of yoga today. And as it evolved, me seeing the need primarily both in myself, how I practiced and how I then was teaching people, they seemed to respond like I did, more to what I call the therapeutic aspect of yoga. The fact that our primary goal is to really notice the response of our own body to what we do, how we move. So it's not so much of a perfect asana or a perfect pose. It's more about liberating, freeing the energy, and feeling more at home in our body. So
Yeah.
my goal with somebody leaving a group class and a practice would be to be more alive, feel more vibrant, and more kind of in tune with life itself.
Well, that ties in with so many of the things that you're going to. And so now we're going to talk about this area that I find so fascinating. And that is that you've added a very important component to your wellness arsenal. And that is through the use of essential oils. I have always loved essential oils. I love diffusing the fragrance through the house. I personally don't wear commercial perfume because I know that those have a lot of endocrine disruptors in them.
Mm-hmm.
But so talk a little bit about these essential oils and why they have become a part of what you do.
I am really into smelling, sensing. It's such a part of our humanity, how we remember things, and overall, it's always accessible. And I'm pretty sensitive to scents as well. When I was introduced to the first oil, I had an immediate response. And it took me a while. I had some of my own experiences. I shared them with my family and friends. And when I noticed how effective they were, I took them to my students. I realized that this is something that more people need to know about and be exposed to and see if it resonates with them. And many of my private yoga students, they started asking more questions about health and wellness and about what to eat and feeling tired and wanting more energy. So the oils stepped in and filled a little bit of a void from the 3 pillars of wellness that I was focused on: what we eat, how we move or exercise, and how we balance by reducing stress or with meditation, etc. So the oils fit in to that aspect of inviting us in to care more and to listen more to our own body. So a gateway or a bridge, if you like, is probably the easiest way that I would describe how the oils work in essence for most people.
That's beautiful. I know that the sense of smell is like the most primitive one of our senses, and it takes us into very deep areas in our consciousness.
And it's
So,
the last sense actually that leaves us when
right.
we are moving on. And the fact that the sensory system, just by smelling, the oils will land in the olfactory bulbs and go right into and through the brain into the limbic brain, where, as you mentioned, we have our kind of the oldest part of the brain, where memory, where we can really affect the mood very quickly and dramatically.
And what's so fascinating about these oils, and I have to, full disclosure, I've been using some of these for the past couple of weeks because I got some from Agneta. You can use them in so many different ways. You can apply them on your skin, you can diffuse them in the air, and you can actually ingest some of these.
You can, with these oils that are pure and effective, you can actually be your own aromatherapy diffuser, if you will. I think that's the easiest way to use them and to have them handy as a tool to reach for, to change the mood or to be a little more grounded when we're going into a whatever conversation, a meeting, work related, or what have you. That would be one easy way to put a couple of drops in the palm of your hand and close your eyes and take a few conscious deep breaths. We don't need the history. We don't need anything else but sending a loving message to the body. The oil does the rest. And that would be the way. And as you mentioned, Andrea, the diffuser is something that I have going, just looking here to my right, 24/7, pretty much cleaning, purifying the air, and adding what I just mentioned, because we have the skin being our largest organ of the body, we absorb these small molecules. And lastly, you mentioned ingestion, taking the oils internally. Many of them are lending themselves to be used internally because they affect our body systems very quickly that way. And every bottle of oil that has a nutritional fact is a very easy way to notice that, yes, this oil lends itself to be used, ingested, or internal. And that is, again, because of the stringent testing of these particular oils. I usually ask someone, what are you looking for? What is the value? What problem would you like to solve using essential oils? And helping people along. Are you looking for, as you say, a perfume or scented candles, something along that line? Then there's lots to choose from out there on the market. But if you would like to use them more as your home apothecary, or having handy to be even able to use in food and to take internally, etc., then you want to have something that is pure, safe, and tested.
Right. And I even know that some of those scented candles, it's the main reason I stopped using incense a lot. I used to like to have the fragrance of incense in my home, but there are a lot of that incense is made with a lot of toxic chemicals, a lot of ingredients, and you're breathing that in. And
Yeah.
I know that even with scented candles, a lot of them have the same problem.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to say, one of the oils that I got from you was the lemon oil. And every morning I've been putting 3 little drops of lemon oil in my hot water concoction that I ingest in the morning. And I really enjoy that. It feels very cleansing. And so that leads me to the other question is, what if we're going to start a home apothecary? And I think that's a terrific idea. What are some of the basic essential oils that you feel that everybody should have in their pharmacopoeia at home, and why?
Good question indeed. You mentioned, Andrea, one of the easiest ones to start the day with, and that is lemon oil. Lemon oil, just as a quick fact, it takes 45 lemons of this specific varietal, and it's cold pressed from the skin
Wow.
to create a 15 milliliter bottle. So it is something very different. I often get the question, what's the difference squeezing a lemon? That lemon juice of a lemon is something completely different, even from a chemical perspective. When, like you do, you take a couple of drops in your morning water, ideally room temperature, you start by giving the first kind of welcome, breaking the fast of the night with a gentle, mild detox. You're alkalizing your gut, and you're very simply starting the process of digestion, stimulating the digestive juices. And that is so easy. And we all need to drink water. And often I hear people say, well, I know I should drink more water. Oh, yes, I've heard about that in the morning. And many, like yourself, are actually using the oil that way and really enjoying it.
So
And I
that's
would,
one.
so that is one. And tagging along lavender and peppermint, just those three by themselves and combined are powerful oils that we pretty much all have heard of. When we combine the three of them, they help with seasonal allergies of many different kinds, which I love, and they're great to have in a diffuser and handy. Peppermint is a pick-me-up, it's an energizer. It can help when you put just a tad of a drop on the temples for a headache that pops up, and many other uses. And lavender, most of us have heard as a calming and really a versatile oil. It's been referred to as the Swiss Army knife of oils, forgetting about the knife part.
I love
But
it.
if you don't know what to reach for lavender. Fantastic in many ways, and great as a sleep aid. So those are three. Frankincense is an absolute must-have. Cellular health, and for even emotions, to calm us down, age spots, for skin problems, and anything that you can kind of think of for the face that is fantastic to add to any moisturizer. And I could talk at length actually about frankincense, referred to as the king of oil, but just specifically the cellular rejuvenation that it offers is key. Breathe oil is a wonderful combination of oils, like the name it reveals already, that helps the respiratory system. So thinking anything this time of year where there's often a lot of bugs coming along, it's clearing, great in the diffuser, and very healing for the respiratory system. And it's great to use when we exercise to open up the airways. And obviously on that note, stimulating and helpful as well. But a few others that come to mind, because there are a foundation of oils that are good to have and reach for. To boost and support the immune system is another very important this time of year. On Guard, I love the name.
On guard, I like that.
It is an immune supporter, and that is it's really potent and has a lot of smells. Many people resonate with the clove oil that is in the blend. Often some of these blends, the synergistic effect makes the individual oils that are great, but put together masterfully, they are even more potent and powerful and effective.
Beautiful.
So those will be a few of them, and I could add on quite a few more, but sticking with those as a baseline, there will probably be about 10 that I would say, hey, these are such a great addition to any toolbox as it pertains to home health.
One of the things that I love to do is I take a little cotton pad and I put some various oils on it, but often peppermint and sometimes eucalyptus, it depends. And I'll put it in my vacuum cleaner bag.
Yeah.
And even though I have one of those very high filtering vacuum cleaners, still some of the air gets through. And when you vacuum, it just fills the air. So it's kind of a nice thing to add.
That's a really great way of using the oils in that way. I use them in my laundry as well. And I have these cotton balls of, they are made actually of wool in the dryer. that I add the oils. So just like you mentioned, it is that it has a lot of other benefits, but the sensory system and the smell, and then the cleansing aspect, it's really fun and easy way.
You know, I bet this would be wonderful for parents. You know, if your kids are getting very hyper, or if they're feeling kind of down, I would think that, you know, peppermint could help them. Or if they're feeling hyper, maybe some of, I don't know, sandalwood or something.
Very,
I
very
bet
good
this would be
point.
very good for parents to have.
It certainly, I'm glad you mentioned that. There is a wonderful array of oils that are specifically made for children so that
Oh,
they can safely even use them. They are in a roller bottle. So they are mixed with a little bit of carrier oil, fractionated
mhm.
uh, oil that is in this roller bottle. And the blends are made specifically for children. And what I love about that, as we started talking about originally, tapping in as we need to do as adults, because we naturally do that as children. We are really, as children, so open to what our needs are. And when children can be continuing to be steeped in that modality, if you will, and really lean into something that they can feel that they can use, that is safe, and that they can be in charge of. It's a really good way to foster that self-care and feeling that there's something that they can do for themselves. Really empowering.
And you know, I think I read a study that said that if you breathe in rosemary, the fragrance of rosemary, when you're studying something, you tend to retain it better.
You are so
Another thing, I mean, for all of
yeah.
us, those of us who are getting older, that's a good thing too.
No,
But I think for kids, I would think that would be good.
yeah, and rosemary it's pretty powerful in its pure form. So for children, it's good to have that mixed with some other balancing oil. But what you just mentioned is fantastic. Rosemary has actually been used in studies to prove what you just stated. So using that as when we want to learn something new or remember, and for cognitive health overall. And so certainly for us aging, but overall, we learn from day one pretty much as long as we live. So yes to rosemary.
Okay.
Lovely
Um,
in food as well. Got to throw that in there. A hummus, if you buy plain or you make your own hummus, a couple of drops of rosemary is one of my favorites.
I think we did cover the idea about flu season, and
Yeah.
on guard was that one that helps the respiratory and immune system. Was there anything else that you wanted to add to that?
I would say that the On Guard and Breathe, there are several others, but the two of them would be the key must-haves for the
Right.
flu season. And the On Guard comes in a family of many. There's actually a hand sanitizer that I wouldn't leave home without, that is in the On Guard family, and that I use anytime I go and get gas. I had to use a public bathroom when traveling, or when I can't wash my hands. It's a definitely a great one to carry around, especially this time of year.
Right. I have the On Guard spray thingy,
Yeah, you got it.
and I'm sort of a germaphobe, so I'm constantly spraying it, especially when you go into the supermarket and you're using those carts. If they don't have one of those other sanitizer things, I prefer the On Guard anyway because it's not chemical.
Right,
And
and
so I'm
there's
always spraying.
none of those antibacterial that kills even the good bacteria.
That's
So
right.
that's why we don't build up resistance, which is another amazing thing with the oils, because nature doesn't do that. In when stuff is made in a laboratory, as much as we can do with chemistry, but we can never completely. The chemists have so far not been able to make a whole essential oil. So they can use some of the components and imitate, but we have not even, probably never will in our lifetime, find all the components
Right.
that nature brings.
I know that my sister taught me, she was traveling a lot for business, that she always sprays the tray, the pull down tray in an airplane. And so I've gotten into that habit now. So I have my on guard and I just spray and clean it off because this is the time, those airplanes are like petri dishes. So, and then the other thing, as far as health is concerned, is getting a good night's sleep. So I do know a little bit about that. And lavender, I know, is a really big one. Isn't that right?
Lavender is definitely a big one to use. And in combination, the first ingredient in a blend that I love and see great results with, it's actually called Serenity. Love the name. The first ingredients with a few other potent ones is in that blend. Lovely to use in a diffuser. Sprinkle a few drops on the pillow. And another wonderful way and delivery is on the soles of the feet. To take a couple of drops and just rub in all along the sole of the foot, and ideally take a couple of drops of your favorite, if it's an almond oil or another carrier oil, and give, even if it's 30 seconds of love to each foot, especially before jumping into bed. Through the feet, we have large openings, pores, and it's a great way to deliver to the rest of the body. And it's thick skin, so it's another perfect portal. So with that, what I think is key is to, as you mentioned, there are many different ways to segue into good sleep using the oils, but as well to stop using a technology and have less light, plus create a routine. Create a beautiful ritual that, again, can be so simple, but something that kind of like a Pavlovian response, if you will. Our body will respond when the light is dimmed. We massage our feet, we turn the diffuser on, take a couple of breaths, and that has already set the stage for a relaxation response through the nervous system.
Right. I know that there's oils and there's oils, and I have to check mine constantly. Not the ones that I got from you, but I have some older ones, because I know that oils can go rancid. But these ones, I know you sell, they're called doTERRA, and they have a very good reputation from the research I've read. Why, how are these different? And do they last well? Are they pure? Are they organic? Or what is different about the doTERRA oil?
I'm really glad you asked that question. Yeah, doTERRA meaning from the earth. They are in a market that is not regulated at all. doTERRA saw the necessity to and the need to have a start point, a process that people could really rely on. So they created a standard, and that is referred to as certified pure therapeutic grade. So they are certified pure, without any fillers or anything that we do not want to have in an oil. And they are therapeutic, meaning that it's not just a random word. It actually is a measurement of the chemical constituents that are present in high enough dose that they are effective and therapeutic. So that is, and there are 7 different tests that are performed from the origin all the way until the bottle process and sent to you. And that's a critical factor to be able to use the oils and feel safe, especially when we are able to ingest them.
Yeah, that's
Look
crucial.
for that CPTG, Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade. That's the kind of the gold standard in an unregulated market.
Are they tested for pesticides?
Yes, they are, and organic is great. I buy as much of our food as we can possibly get in organic. So you mentioned that as it pertains to the oils. Organic is great, but that is really simply the testing of the soil that a lettuce or a tomato is grown. So saying that an essential oil is organic is simply only controlling the testing of the soil. We want to have the process of distillation. We want to be sure that nothing is added during shipping and production and bottling. So the whole process need to be tested and for assurance. So thank you for bringing that up, Andrea. That's certainly for safety. We want to have something that's safe and pure and effective.
Yeah, well, that's always crucial for me and for so many of my viewers and readers. And so since I write about fashion and beauty, I wanted to ask you, because you briefly mentioned it, a little bit about what oils you might recommend for what these age spots that we get. Are there any of these that proved or that you would recommend cosmetically for skin discoloration or that sort of thing?
Number one would definitely be frankincense again.
Okay.
I had, with my fair Swedish skin, and I spent a lot of time in the sun in my youth. I've had a couple of spots on my face, even where the doctor had to go in and do their thing. And I use frankincense, and I have not even a scar after that. So that that totally impressed me. So I still put a couple of drops that I just put along my right under my eyes, and in any other part that I think need a little bit extra attention. And in addition, there is a lovely combination of oils called Immortelle. It's the anti-aging blend. So that is a variety of oils, and they do in combination smell divine on top of all. So that is another oil that I use on my neck and on my face at the particular spots, just to kind of get that extra on a consistent level. So I do that morning and evening as maintenance. My newest favorite is actually yarrow and pomegranate oil combined. So it's a botanical and an essential oil, yarrow essential oil and pomegranate. In combination, they are, to me, like food for my skin. I have a tendency to have dry skin. So I use that morning and evening on my moisturizer. I put a couple of drops and just pat that in. And for me, it creates a seal. This is just my experience, what I notice. It's like food. It's so my skin soaks it up, and I love it. It's probably with all through my life, all the different products that I've used, I would say that particular product is what my skin shows most appreciation to. So those would be my three favorites there.
And I would imagine when you work with people individually, some people might have allergies to certain foods and oils, and you could help design a protocol for them that would accommodate that. I'm guessing that would be part of your, especially since you have so much training in nutritional counseling.
I think that is very important in this day and age. There are so many different allergies, and people are really suffering in many different ways. I typically will recommend that we start with something very mild and just test for those people that self-identify as having problems. And I usually reassure people that because of the purity, most people, unless you have developed a really a response from the body for an allergy that is severe already, it's typically the toxins or whatever is added to whatever it is that we're exposed to that we have a reaction to. So when something is clean and pure, most likely there is not a problem. But I always go very easy, and many people are actually surprised that they not only tolerate, but they love the aspect of the oils. And many allergies actually can be supported with some of these combinations. So that is really fun. And it's nature and its abundance have all these possibilities to create from, so that's never boring. It can be very basic and simple, but it can be, we can go really deep into the chemistry and combined and so on and so forth. So it's a really rewarding and fun way to work and educate people and engage them and play with oils, kind of as we used to do as little girls. That's what I sometimes say. Hey, let's create a way here to play together and notice what we find out and share.
That's terrific. How do you work with people? How can people get in touch with you? Do they do like what we're doing now? Can you do an online consultation with people? Because I have friends and viewers all over the world. How would somebody get in touch with you and work with you in this area?
The easiest is through my website.
Okay.
And it's Agneta at lifeandwellness.co. So not .com, Agneta at lifeandwellness, one word, .co. And there is a contact me with both actually my phone number and my email. And my email is just, what did I just say? lifeandwellness.co. That is my website. And Agneta at lifeandwellness.co is my email. So there, that's the appropriate answer. And I do work, since I've had the pleasure, I'm from Sweden, I've lived in many places, and I have as well, I love this way of using Zoom. It's perfect because it's more personal than a phone call. We do get to see each other, and show and tell is more appropriate that way. And obviously, if we're fortunate enough to live close like you and I are, we can meet, which is fantastic.
Right. That's wonderful.
The phone would be the third option, but certainly in person and like we are here with Zoom is a really great way.
Right, and you're in the East Bay of the San Francisco Bay Area, so
Yes.
all of my viewers who are here in our hood, our neighborhood, you can contact Agneta personally.
I love to. I offer actually, because I think it's important to see if it's a mutual connection.
Right.
I offer a wellness consultation where I ask questions that are pertinent, and then from there we will find out if this is something that resonates. So it's a good opportunity to not have to more than spend about 20 minutes together, and from there decide if this is a good fit.
Well, Agneta Sundberg, I want to thank you so much for being a guest on Shopping for the Real You. This has been very valuable. I look forward to trying some of those oils on my age spots, and I'll let my readers know. We'll also post in on the YouTube, the website lifeandwellness.co. So again, Agneta Sundberg, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Andrea, and thanks everyone. The pleasure has been mine. This is what I'm passionate about.
Same to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.